The headlines are loud, the reactions louder. Donald Trump has stunned the world again. This time by admitting what many long suspected: he can't end the Russia-Ukraine war alone. Speaking aboard Air Force One during an impromptu press huddle, Trump responded to a pointed question. Is it time to push for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine? His answer was as blunt as ever. It doesn't feel like it.
Mr. President, you say that President Putin has let you down. Have negotiations run out of road, and what are your next steps to compel an end to this war?
Well, he has let me down. I mean, he's killing many people, and he's losing more people than he's killing. Yeah. I mean, frankly, the Russian soldiers are being killed at a higher rate than the Ukrainian soldiers. But, yeah, he said, let me down. I don't like to see. It's death. You know, it doesn't affect the United States. We have, other than unless you end up in a world war over this thing, you could. This was a thing that would have never happened had I been president. If I were president, it would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Most people agree it didn't happen, nor was it close to happening. And I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. I've said that many times. It was. But he would have never done what he did, except that he didn't respect the leadership of the United States.
According to Trump, the conditions just aren't ripe for peace. And when the time does come, he says, any action will be harsh. This marks a stunning reversal from earlier claims. For over a year, Trump had repeatedly promised that he could bring the war to a close within 24 hours of returning to office. But now he's confronting a reality far more complicated than slogans. Just weeks ago, Trump held a rare face-to-face meeting with Vladimir Putin, not in Moscow or Washington, but in the icy reaches of Alaska. It was an attempt, sources say, to understand Russia's long-term objectives. But reflecting on that encounter, Trump said plainly, Putin really let me down. The disappointment runs deep. Trump had hoped that a direct line to the Kremlin could accelerate diplomatic breakthroughs. Instead, the meeting left him frustrated and more cautious. In the aftermath, he signaled a potential pivot from bold promises to strategic pressure. At a joint press conference in London with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Trump doubled down on this new tone. He acknowledged that ending the war is far more complicated than he had anticipated. He emphasized that peace won't come from words alone, but from what he described as tough decisions and real consequences. This raises a crucial question. What might those consequences look like? According to administration insiders, Trump is now exploring the option of aggressive economic penalties if Moscow continues to stall. This could include renewed oil sanctions, secondary sanctions on countries still trading with Russia, and potentially even leveraging NATO allies to ramp up pressure. The goal, he suggests, is not endless war, but meaningful deterrence. Still, critics are quick to point out the contradictions. For months, Trump's rhetoric leaned heavily on blaming NATO, criticizing Ukrainian leadership, and promising quick fixes. Now, as the conflict grinds into its fourth year, he seems to be shifting to realism, if not retreat. And what about Ukraine? Trump has also taken a harder tone toward Kyiv. While he stopped short of direct criticism, he implied that both sides need to face uncomfortable truths. He warned that any solution must be durable, not just a temporary pause in hostilities. But with Russia rejecting the latest U.S. peace proposals, including calls for a ceasefire and a demilitarized zone, the diplomatic road ahead remains uncertain.